Thank you so much for tuning into Journey with Christian D. Evans podcast. I'm your host, Christian D. Evans. Are courses dead or are they alive? The reason why we want to have this conversation today is maybe you have a course and it's dead. It's not producing, it's not developing. Well, that's the reason why this man is correcting your course, right? Getting those optimized, ready to rock and roll. He has been in the industry, 20 years of experience with online course production, product development, public speaking, and voice coaching. He has worked with hundreds upon hundreds of clients, coaches, authors, thought leaders, and companies achieve scalability and growth by helping them build their VOD courses, live cohorts, live masterclasses, and like I said, course correcting. Guys, this is my friend, CEO and founder of CourseCREEK Consulting, Robert Lunte. How you doing today, Robert?
I'm doing great, and I'm excited to be here.
Hey, man, I'm really excited about diving into this because, what I found so interesting, definitely in today's kind of industry, is everybody's got a course, right? And a lot of individuals from what I've seen are like, our course is dead. Is that kind of like a industry? And what I've noticed is I do realize that the e-learning space, it's going to 2, 3, 5x within the next 5 to 7 years. Mm-hmm. And so obviously courses are not dead. But I would love to get an expert's advice. What do you see in the industry and what kind of opportunities are you noticing?
Yeah, right. So the e-learning industry in itself, for sure, is not dead. That's going to continue to grow. The story really will evolve into how content is created, produced, how content is consumed by the learners, what learners are asking for and demanding for. Short story is sort of where our head in our firm and working, speaking with other people in the industry right now, where our heads are sort of getting a lot around the fact that the evergreen, the video on demand course where you make a bunch of videos and it runs 24/7 and it's self-paced is to some extent beginning to lose some steam. It's beginning to lose some conversion results, right? And I own some of these courses myself, and I can tell you firsthand that has been the case. Sort of slowing down. And learners are also asking more and more for a higher touch learning experience where they can get in touch with the actual instructor, where they can learn in a peer group, in a community, where they can sort of get a hands-on workshop, build something, create something on the fly in real time in front of the instructor. All these cool benefits that come from a live element in your e-learning program is growing in popularity, in interest, and it's what learners are asking for. Now, I just want to preface this by saying that I'm not saying that the evergreen self-paced model is dead or obsolete. I'm not saying that. It's not. It's just that those kinds of assets need to be redeployed in a different strategy, a different tactic inside the value ladder. And you can still get sales and do things with that, but it needs to be worked inside a bigger strategy with a blended learning offer as well, ideally.
Well, what I love about what you guys got going on isn't that you just produce and develop courses, but like you just mentioned, it is basically taking what they already have, those assets, and saying, hey, how do we redeploy these in a strategic and tactical way to obviously increase the lifetime value, to increase more profit, to increase more revenue, whatever that is. And so when you're looking at a business, because I do know you help courses, individuals take their expertise, their knowledge, and create the course out of it. Yeah. But also, like I mentioned, optimizing. What have you noticed are like certain tactics that a lot of business owners and a lot of authors, speakers, service providers are not taking advantage of?
Right up front, I think a lot of folks are just not aware that they have content around them that can be repurposed. We can put it in front of an instructional designer and that can be quickly turned into a curriculum for an evergreen and a blended system. So, for example, that is to say that there are a lot of public speakers out there that have decks, they have books, they have a lot of content already available. And so my first answer on that would be not aware that what you have already around you, that what you've built through the years can be brushed up, dusted up, and turned into something that's digital. Yeah. Now, the other a couple other things.
Yeah. Yes, please.
There needs to be an enhanced awareness and appreciation for the fact that once you do get one of these digital products up and running, you have to market it. You have to market. You got to have SEO. You got to drive some traffic to it. Got to do social media and get traffic to it. So the decision to make an online course, it sounds really sexy. Passive income and these kinds of things. I just would want viewers to understand is also a decision to become a professional content creator. Once your course is done, you're not done. In some sense, you're sort of just getting started. because now you've got to juice the social media systems, and you've got to, you've got to continue to work on this. product and get traffic to it and get it to convert.
Hello, I want to talk to you real quickly about a learning management system that CourseCREEK recommends quite often. It's called LearnWorlds. You have the opportunity on LearnWorlds to license your content to large organizations. LearnWorlds has design templates that look beautiful, fluid, and silky to the eye. You can give your students badges and seals and do a lot of fun things to encourage them to keep moving on. So if you're looking for a great learning management system, we do recommend LearnWorlds, and of course, we can help you put it together and get it on its feet. Thank you.
Now, you mentioned something before we jumped on this podcast, which I found very interesting. Not only do you help the VOD side of things, which is like that evergreen, which is what you're mentioning, but you also help, which is what you're kind of leveraging and pivoting more toward a lot of businesses are the master classes and those live trainings. Kind of help our audience and help me unpack that and explain, what do you see that is more valuable than what would you say the evergreen?
Sure. It's not more valuable. It's just in how it's deployed. So let's step back and let's view the customer journey in terms of sort of a Russell Brunson type value ladder, or a customer journey where they probably get something for free from the lead magnet initially, and then they get a smaller price product, and then they kind of work up this value ladder. And the higher they go up the value ladder, generally speaking, the more value they get. And you eventually get closer and closer to actually, as the creator, selling your time, consulting, okay? Which let's hope is at a good, robust fee, okay? So we want to take people on this journey, okay? Now, the three things that we're going to build for clients is the VOD, the traditional VOD, and it sits a little bit lower on this value ladder, okay? And that may translate to a lower price. Slightly above the VOD would be what we would call the cohort, all right, which is live training with your learners. Oftentimes the same people that purchased the VOD, they've now been upsold to the cohort, and the cohort would be a virtual class whereby you would meet maybe 2 to 4 hours a week. Again, it's a little bit of a higher fee, but then the learners get this really great hands-on teaching experience that they can't get the VOD, and they get community and they meet other students. Above the cohort is another live experience. It's the master class that you were referring to. And the master class looks more like an event, a paid event. It's a 4 or 5 hour paid event where the course creator focuses on one narrow topic in their overall curriculum. You only got 4 or 5 hours, so you're not going to go wide. So you're going to focus on a narrow topic, and it tends to be, because it is a true master class, it tends to be for the people that already know who you are. So the people that purchased the VOD, then upsold to the cohort, got to know you better, got more value, became even better at the thing that you're teaching, then eventually you can do once a month or once every quarter a master class for 5 hours, and that tends to be a higher ticket. Above that, then you get into consulting and retainers. So I'm sort of describing the value ladder and where that master class and the cohort and the VOD would sit on the ladder in terms of strategy. And this is what we'll do when we go in and meet with clients and kind of take a look at their assets and the inventory of the stuff they have, and then sort of sort it all out and make a plan.
So let's walk through that a little bit, because I know a lot of our listeners, I know a majority of our audience are about 7 figures, right? $1, $2, $3 million. And so let's say they're looking at their structure. And what are some aspects that when you are consulting for them or with them and you're aligning yourself with them, what are certain things that you walk through and say, hey, I see that you could adjust the cohort a little bit better and optimize that. Oh, look, you got a masterclass, cool. But I think there's different ways to, increase that XYZ or whatever.
Yeah.
How do you approach value ladder when you're having that conversation with that client?
Well, you're sort of leaning into the world of instructional design, and I'm an okay instructional designer. Our firm has professional, licensed, certified guys that are brilliant at this sort of thing. But when I say instructional design, it's basically kind of looking at the idea, the content, and determining how to make the course, VOD, cohort, or masterclass, how to make it engaging. Okay, so there are ways to make it engaging. You can have a breakout where they work with a peer group or someone else is in the class, come back. You can do a demonstration for them. You can ask them to do, there's 100 different things you ask them to do. You can have them write a quiz. You can have them bring homework to the program. You can have them sort of share a story with the community. Of course, if we're talking about community, we're sort of probably talking about a cohort experience, right? So it's a case by case, it's an individual thing, and it just sort of sits in this world of instructional design that is super important and has to be done properly. Otherwise, the content isn't engaging. The learners these days that have high expectations aren't getting a lot out of it, and they know it when they're not. And you might end up not getting very good reviews, and the uptake may not be as successful as you want it to be. So I think my answer is make sure you have world-class instructional design and people that know how to design for a VOD versus a cohort versus a masterclass.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So now let's say, for example, you come alongside them. Okay, hey, let's take a look at all your assets. It's dependent upon each client that you're working with, author, speaker, whatever, and you just take a look at their assets. And then what does that trajectory look like in regarding actually a start to finish product in a course, in a VOD, in a masterclass or cohort? Again, I do know that it's all dependent, but I would just kind of unpack that a little bit for our audience. So, again, they have the right expectations. Say, hey, again, you're taking a lot of your skills, reorganizing their assets to basically redeploy an incredible strategy that will long-term produce incredible, beautiful results. But I do know that there is a proper timeline to do that.
Yeah. Okay. So it depends on a lot of things. One of the things it depends on the most is how much content needs to be created. All right. So if the course requires 10 videos or 10 PDF downloads, well, then the amount of time it takes to do that. But some courses are 80 videos. Okay. So that's something to keep in mind. But generally speaking, a VOD, they tend to sort of run anywhere from about 40 to 80 videos. And if that content is created in a relatively quick way, and one way that we ensure that we get the VOD content created in a quick way and it doesn't become a logjam, is we offer an on-location shoot service. If it's in the client's budget, they just go out. We make all the arrangements for them with our partners, and they do a professional shoot. They do a lockout for a week to get the content done. All right. So apart from the fact, so that's great. That gets done, and of course, it looks really fantastic. So a VOD is going to be, if they get the content done, it should be anywhere from about maybe 6 weeks, from a twinkle in your eye to content done to uploaded to the learning management system. We've got to build the funnels and do the copy and everything as well. A cohort, because there's coach time in it. It's not all digital assets. That actually translates to less time in the development, in the design. Let's call that 4 weeks. Should be able to get a cohort done in 4 weeks. A master class is probably not much more than the guy showing up with the deck he's been using for years. And it's really just us building the tech stack for him, the registration page and the landing page and all that sort of thing. So we can get that done in about 1 to 2 weeks. It's an opportunity to point out how one of the nice things about the masterclass is it's quick, it's MVP, it's super affordable, and you can get it on its feet in like 2 weeks and just run with it. And you can use the masterclass as a way to get feedback and get a feel from your learners on what they liked, what they didn't like, and it can influence what you might do as you begin to put more time and energy into the VOD and the cohort, which are more work.
Well, what I love about what you do specifically, Robert, is I've heard a lot of companies that come in and just help people reestablish their assets and turn it into a course. But what I think is so remarkable, and you mentioned this, I'm gonna foot stomp on this, is not only do you do that, but you also build out the funnel so that it's an asset that is selling your asset, right? Attracting whatever that may be, whether it's a cohort, a masterclass, or a VOD. And then also you help them with the deployment strategy, which I find so interesting because, see, I do know a lot of people have created or developed their own their own course because, I'm just going to sign up and start recording videos and so forth. But they don't have any deployment strategy. There's no effective way to actually get that asset out in front of people. And so, you able to basically, for a little penny, right? But be able to collapse that time frame because you've done it with numerous hundreds upon hundreds of clients already walk through that process. Mm-hmm. So let me ask you, if you could maybe just unpack maybe 1 or 2 of your clients that you've worked with that, hey, this is kind of the structure, but also this is the result that we were able to produce because of what you guys are aligning yourself with them and helping them expedite that process.
Yeah, sure. So we have one client that comes to mind is involved in corporate culture change. So they go in and they'll work with a company to help them change their culture for the benefit of keeping good people on board and getting business growth. This particular account started with 2 new books. And this particular client, the business was fairly new. It was coming out of a corporate world, out of another career experience that went on for many years. He wanted to go out and be a solopreneur and do his own thing, thought leader, that sort of thing. So we started with 2 books. So we started with 2 thin little books, all right? And the books are, by the way, oftentimes we don't make a lot of money on books, but the books are used as a calling card or a lead magnet. So in regards to this value ladder, this particular client, we've set up the books to be part of the lead magnet when we drive traffic to it. Okay. The next step is that we help them to produce 2 courses, right? 2 courses, not 1, but 2 VOD courses. One of the VOD courses is, sometimes we call it the mini course, and it's a lighter version. It has related topic to everything, but it's a light version that sits lower on the value ladder. And we put this mini course out on Udemy for Business, Udacity, LinkedIn Learning. We put it out on third-party VOD course marketplace platforms. And we use that to collect some revenue, but also take those learners and send them one step up the value ladder to the full course that sits at the customer's platform, right? Which is a higher fee. And then from there, we're not there yet, but in the future, we're going to be probably building a masterclass or a cohort. And there's podcasting that's going on around here. So at the moment, the customer is doing about 10 grand a month, roughly a little under 10 grand a month. And we just got them up and running and getting conversions on the funnel that I just described for you. We still have a lot more work to do. We've got to do the blended learning stuff and the live stuff as well, and tweak the campaigns and that sort of thing. But we're marketing it now.
That's awesome. And so so what you did basically is help that client because of your help, you're able to collapse that time frame and build out that whole foundation. And what was the time frame that you mentioned?
To do what we did, it took for this particular client about 6 months to get to where we got to. But that's in part because we did 2 VOD courses, and the courses had a lot of assets in it, and there was a lot of editing that had to be done as well with the assets. So given the magnitude of the content that we were working with, that was a fair turnaround. So it took them about 5 to 6 months to start getting conversions of sales.
Yeah, but that's impressive though, because at the end of the day, they could have taken 12 months just to build that foundation. And the reality is you collapse that time frame. And then also, see, that's what I always find so interesting is people go off, and I know this from experience as well as from my audience. They say, "Oh, I can do this. I listen to Robert. I can start implementing this." And the reality is, you just spin your wheels because you don't know all the hurdles. So maybe unpack this and say, first of all, understand and give a little bit of context to how difficult it is to actually deploy a successful VOD live masterclass and so forth. And even for those that are listening that they have that, maybe redeploying it effectively. And this is what I find so interesting, because you're optimizing what they already have and say, you know what, we haven't really touched this training for a while. Maybe we should go in there, add some more content, maybe adjust a few things. Yeah. And the reality is, Robert, you can do that and help them kind of re-sparkle that content in a very effective manner, correct?
Well, that is correct. In fact, we have a service that we call CourseCREEK, and it's designed for folks that are already gone through this process, and it's designed to correct the conversions. And we'll go in and work on copy, fix the funnels, make those kinds of tweaks and those updates, fix their marketing campaigns, and bring it and make it alive again. But getting back to your point, I was sort of chuckling a little bit because every time I do one of these, it seems like every time I do one of these interviews, this point comes up, which is the general public or the general market might tend to think that, oh, I don't need an agency to help me do this. I can do this myself. Well, so you're talking to somebody who tried to do it himself for like 20, 25 years. And I'm just here to tell you, you can't do it yourself. There might be a few people that can. There might be a few people that understand copy, understand learning management systems, are also trained instructional designers, know how to get in front of a camera, know how to do Google ads, know how to do so. There might be some amazing people out there, but most people cannot do this themselves. You have to have help. And if you don't have help, you'll burn out and be disappointed. So I don't want to sound like a bummer. Am I sounding a bit like a bummer? But it's
no,
true.
It's the truth. It's the truth. And also the longevity of how much time and energy you actually spend into it. See, I always look about the time equation, right? Hey, you could go on there and you could do it. And that's the thing. Hey, you could accomplish it. You're a smart guy, right? All of our listeners, but it's going to take you twice as long than if Robert would just do it for you, right?
Yeah, more than twice as long, and all the lost income to do what I just described. Okay, let's just say let's say we come to the table with a book, and we're going to create a VOD that sort of mirrors the book, and then we're going to do a cohort, and then we're going to do a master class, and then we're going to sort of build a website that looks great with good copy, have all the funnels and the automation and the email and everything running in it. To do that by yourself full time for 6 months or a year or more to get all that done with a lot of headaches and a lot of misery, in my opinion. Like, again, I've been here before. So no, man, I mean, if it's in your budget, just have the pros do it for you, get it done, and get to working in your business and not on your business as soon as possible. That's sort of the fundamental value proposition. Working with an agency is we're going to do it for you so you can get to being a coach.
Definitely. Now you also have an incredible experience. I want to kind of highlight. You have actually worked with a lot of speakers and a lot of authors to really build that tonality in the voice. And I would like to kind of just emphasize, kind of give us a little bit of background in regards to kind of your experience in that regard, and then what you've been able to do with some of those individuals, specifically in the speaking realm.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for asking. So in another life, I'm a voice coach. All right. I wrote a book and I have 9 online courses, which is how I sort of got into the course business. 9 online courses in 5 languages that help voice coaches, public speakers, and singers learn how to train. It's a training program. It's like a P90X for the voice, and they literally. And the thing is, I'll be honest with you, it's brilliant. It's just great. I'm an idiot savant at it. People have been doing it for 25 years. We've got 20 or 30 European masterclass tours. I lose count. Anyways, so I'm really good with the human voice and coaching and helping people with that. So what we're doing is we're offering what I do on the side a little bit. I guess we'd call it a side hustle. Is I help public speakers work through some routines that build the strength and the motor skills of the mechanism, right? The voice, the vocal folds, the stuff inside, so that when they're presenting live on stage, TED Talk or whatever it is, it's animated, it's amplified, it doesn't get tight and squeezy and get fatigued. And that you said tone, yeah, so that the tone and the sound color is beautiful, vibrant. There's a way to take the resonance from the voice and place it in places with some practice that make it vibrant, namely forward and not in your throat. And I could go on. I could geek out on this forever. But yeah, I'm a voice coach. I can help you project your voice and get you strong in your voice with some unique techniques. And did it for years, still doing it. And now I'm helping executives and public speakers get benefits from it too.
Now, let's kind of dive into this just a little bit, because I really want to hit the misconceptions a lot of people have in the speaking. Now, like I said, a lot of our audience are in that mid 7 figures. So they're probably at that point looking to be speakers, authors of some sort, right? Specifically in the speaker realm. Now, one of the things I've noticed, and I've been to numerous conferences where there's an MC, and you can tell on the second day, his voice is ripped. He is done, boom. And the reason why is because he did not have someone like Robert, like yourself, where you're able to build that foundation. What's so interesting, why this is so important, I think this is a misconception, is, oh, I can just go in there. It's like going to, oh, I can go take a hike on the Himalayas when I haven't trained, when I haven't educated, when I haven't done my research, right? It's the same thing. Oh, I can go out there and do an amazing TED Talk or amazing speaking opportunity, and you actually lose that opportunity because you weren't trained, you weren't able to really build that strength in that. So what are the misconceptions do you find that a lot of people have, definitely if they're either starting the speaking realm or if they've actually been in the speaking realm and they need to, level up their game?
Misconception would be that I don't need a vocal warm-up or a vocal exercise. And that is not founded for most folks, okay? Or it would simply be they're just simply not aware of it, okay? So a misconception would be that people are born with what they have here and the way it sounds and how it feels and its endurance levels. Some people are born with that, and some people are just not born with it. And it works for singers too. The general public thinks you're either born to sing great or you're not born to sing great. And I'm here to tell you and viewers that's absolutely, positively bunk. It's not true. The human voice is a physical mechanism like any other system in the body. It consists of muscles, ligaments, tendons, things that move. And if you get at it a proper way, proper techniques, you can build the motor skills and the strength, namely getting the vocal folds to close better, getting the resonance to project better, getting you to have a lot more endurance so you're not fatigued and choky and tight in your voice. All of these things can come from some simple 5 to 6 minutes a day, simple vocal training workout routines that any executive could work on. Now, what would be the benefit of that? Well, the voice would be more animated, it would be more amplified, and it wouldn't get tired, okay? And they could go on forever speaking.
So if you could just share maybe like, I know you have numerous techniques, but just maybe 1 or 2 techniques that could help build that strength, but also that warm up.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so we teach onsets. Onset just means to start, just means beginning, okay? So if you begin your vocal sound in a certain way, we can use these onsets as a way to get at the tiny muscles I was referring to earlier. Okay, so I have a series of onsets that the singers and people train. I'll share one of them with you. This onset is called the track and release onset. Okay? Has a name. Gotta give these things names. Okay? To track means to buzz on a nasal consonant. You asked, this is gonna get a little geeky, but I'll try to go fast. It means to buzz on a nasal consonant. In English, we have 3 nasals. M, N, and G. And are your nasals in English. It just so happens that if we buzz on nasals, great physical benefits come from that. Namely, the respiration that hits the bottom of your vocal cords and the vocal fold closure movement, this energy source and this energy source, way oversimplifying, get optimized and balanced. When this energy source, the wind and the musculature of the vocal folds oscillating, get optimally balanced, you get a voice that amplifies, that's animated, that doesn't get tired. All right, so back to the track and release onset that gets us there. So I'm gonna put a smirky smirk in my lips like this, okay? Put a little smirky smirk in my lips, okay? And I'm going to buzz into my lips, not hum, but buzz, all right? How do I know I'm buzzing? When you're buzzing, your lips will vibrate and tickle. So here's what it sounds like. That's a buzz. It literally sounds like a buzz. It's sort of rattling a little bit, and my lips are tickling. This is what we don't want to do. You don't want to hum. We don't want a warm, woofy thing from the throat. That's actually fatiguing, okay? So what viewers would want to do is put your lips in a smirky smirk, get in front of a mirror, and work on making your lips vibrate on an M like this. Okay? One more thing on that. Once you get that done, the next thing you want to do is you want to add in cry mode. You want to whimper into the buzzy M. Whimper like a puppy into the buzzy M. Like this. Watch me. This is not whimpering. It's okay, but this is much better. If I whimper into it, I do this. Product A. I'm just sort of shoving into it. It's kind of helping, but it's not as good as it could be. Product B with cry mode. All right. So now let's review. We got a buzzy M, okay, and we're whimpering into it. The last step is you're going to release your voice. And the product is, the release is the product, which is the voice. And you can hear how my voice is amplified and pretty in it. And I can take that voice that you heard me just sustain is the same mechanism, the same configuration I'm using right now as I speak to you, which is more of a presentation voice. It's amplified, it's forward, it's bright, and it's not going to make me tired. So that is one technique that people could use if they practiced it 5 minutes a day that would help strengthen their voice.
Dude, that was awesome. I love that. I was literally doing it while I was on mute. I was like, oh man, this is great stuff. I just appreciate you just, I know we took a little sidestep there, but I just wanted to do that because I did know that you have incredible experience in that. And I thought that was a little sweet little taste for our audience a little bit, and definitely for myself as well. Now, let's kind of loop back around to the course creation and kind of what you've been able to really do with that company. Same technique. What are things like opportunities that you think some business owners could implement right away with their VOD masterclass, live training that they're not optimizing?
So what opportunities could they take if they already had those services available?
Correct,
Or-
correct. Let's say, for example, they already have those assets established and they want to
Okay.
maybe just tweak or dial those in, or maybe
Okay.
they just need to refreshen them.
Again, I refer you back to the customer journey or the value ladder. That is essentially a ladder, a 45-degree angle that has all of your products and services, including your time, sorted out on the ladder relative to their value to the learner and the value to you in terms of its price and its fees and stuff. Okay. The higher it goes, the more value to the learner, the more value to you. Okay. So a good answer to your question would be to take a look at, from day one, at the current inventory of services that are available. If there's only a book, then the next step would be to work on a VOD or a masterclass. If there is a VOD or an evergreen course already in place and a book, and it's maybe not getting the conversions we want, then you would want to bring in something like CourseCREEK, take a look at the copy, take a look at the funnels, take a look at the marketing campaigns, and consider an upsell to a cohort or a master.
So let's just stop right there for a second. So
Okay.
let's say, for example, some of our audience, they do have that asset and it's not converting. It used to be converting and now
Right.
it's not converting.
Yeah.
That's when they should say, hey, we need an expert to look at this asset because this asset's not, it's a liability now. It's not producing, it's developing. Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely. Now, with that being said, when you've been looking at a lot of these individuals, like let's say that one example, okay, what have you discovered that most people are getting wrong? Is it the copy when they're developing the funnel? Is it just not refreshing the course or the offer sometimes, or sweetening the deal, or increasing the perceived value? Or is it like, I'm just always intrigued by, there's so many people that have these assets and they'll always look into, hey, how do I freshen it up? How do I make it new? How do I adjust it? Or sometimes it might just be this limited time offer. Hey, this July 4th deal, XYZ, versus Halloween deal, right? XYZ.
Yeah. So you're referring to promotions and sort of different kinds of funneling and automation. And that's a good point, because that would be one of the things. And building a promo, building a proper landing page, building a proper checkout sequence and checkout experience that keeps them moving with the proper CTAs to get them to purchase the product they were taking a look at, plus the upsell. That the science involved in that funnel checkout can be complicated. And so that is far more than just click on my course at the top of my website, you get a sales page and a CTA button, and that works. That's probably option one. But you made a good point. You with a specialist, you can go in and create automation and create some interesting offers that sort of upsell and bump sell and side sell and that sort of thing. So that would be one thing to take a look at. The other thing would be to do some conversion rate optimization, to go into sort of an audit, a CRO exercise, and look at the marketing. So I think your question was what's the thing that people are missing out on? And it oftentimes it's back to the funnel, it's back to the checkout sequence, and it's back to the marketing. The lack of SEO, lack of social media, lack of paid advertising. Yeah, there's a lot of people with websites and a VOD sitting on a sales page. There's a lot of that, but you can take
Correct.
that. Right. Okay, so there's gobs of that. I've had that, and I currently have some of that. Just working with the cool cats that I have in my own agency, I've learned from them. And I realized, I could be doing something so much different with this that would be converting better. For example, last month, we started sending traffic to a 24/7 webinar, sort of an evergreen webinar that spins. And those kinds of things should be considered. And they need to be built by people that know what they're doing.
Yeah, the reason why I wanted to emphasize this is because I do know here in these states, a recession is potentially looming, right? And so a lot of businesses are kind of anticipating, structuring their processes, restructuring a lot of things, and just focusing on the future a little bit. And with that being said, there's several audiences. One is, I do know after the pandemic, by research, we noticed that a lot of people stayed home, but then that gave them the opportunity to learn different skills. So course creation and people buying courses exploded during that time.
Yeah,
that's somewhat what I'm anticipating during these potential recession. And the reason why is because when that happens, everybody's looking to level up their skills. So therefore, that's the reason why someone like yourself and your organization business structure is primed perfectly in this situation. For those that are thinking about creating an asset, and of course, you definitely need to collapse that time frame and take on this opportunity. Number two, if you do have a mastermind, a live course, or these assets in place, this is a good time to water them down, to refreshen them up, to sparkle them, to clean them out, whatever it is, to optimize that, right? And like you said, those are the certain things that you need to be aware of. Is there anything else that you would like to add on to that? Because that's what I'm seeing here, and that's why I'm really excited to have you on our podcast. Definitely coming into this next 18 months.
Yeah. No, it's that. If we look at the value ladder and we have the total inventory of all the products and services, including consulting time, laid out on it, that's the place to start. That's where we need to go with and make decisions on what needs to be built or what needs to be fixed or what needs to be tweaked on taking an inventory of what is currently there and what isn't, and filling in the gaps.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Robert, I just appreciate the immense value that you brought today. It's just unpacking so much. I mean, just coming from the course creation to the course correct, really adjusting, really diving deep into that, and bringing up those red flags for a lot of our audience, for a lot of our listeners, and then as well as just giving a nice little taste of your training, immense training, and the value that you brought there, which is really awesome. And then just talking a little bit more about the in-depth, the system, the structure, and the value ladder as well. Robert, how can our audience reach out to you and be part of what you got going on, man?
Sure. Go out to our website, which is CourseCREEK.com. Course as in an online course, creek as in a little river, CourseCREEK.com. There's a little CTA button out there that says schedule a meeting. It'll be me. We'll do a one of those discovery calls, or just pick up the phone, give me a call. I'm good for that too. And that's where you can find us for the e-learning stuff. If anybody wants to learn how to sing, you can go to thevocaliststudio.com. That's the side hustle these days.
Awesome. And guys, those links will be in the description below. And make sure you literally stop right now and go and just follow him and have a conversation with him and schedule a phone call. Because the biggest thing is, if you are sitting there and going, we haven't touched our courses for a while, you definitely need to have a conversation with Robert. Yeah. Or if you're saying, hey, I want to take advantage of this potential thing here in the US or internationally, hey, go ahead and have a conversation with Robert and definitely, optimize that time. And Robert, again, I just appreciate the immense value. Is there any last words of wisdom that you'd like to share with our audience before we let you go?
Yeah, I would say that those that haven't made a digital product from their expertise yet, it's a lot of work. It's going to be a lot of work to do it. But if you get it done and you do it properly, it can change your life. It is what it's cracked up to be. There's a price to pay, but once it's paid and you have it up and running and things are automated, it's worth it. I am here to help anybody with their course or their voice or whatever it may be. Just reach out. And Christian, I appreciate the opportunity to meet with your tribe. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you again, Robert. That is the CEO of CourseCREEK. Guys, that is Journey with Christian D. Evans podcast. Until next time, remember, be uncommon if you can.